Sit back, grab a drink, and let me tell you a story about a legendary logger from down under. In the heart of the ancient Australian forests, where the trees grew as tall as mountains, and rivers whispered secrets only the oldest oaks could remember, lived a legendary logger named Barry O'Reilly. Barry was a big man, his chest broad as a bull's, and hands calloused from years gripping an axe. But it wasn't just any axe Barry carried. His weapon of choice was a plum axe, a tool forged by his grandfather from steel rumored to be as old as Australia itself. Barry's plum axe had a name too, Old Red. Its handle was weathered to a smooth polish, and the blade gleamed even after years of loyal service. Local tales said Old Red could fell a tree with a single, well-placed swing. And with Barry holding it, the axe became a part of him, as if he were born with Old Red in his hands. In the small logging town of Tallow Grove, Barry's name was spoken with equal parts awe and affection. Children told stories of Barry's battles with the forest's great trees, while the older folk still recalled how he once stopped a wildfire from spreading simply by felling a ring of trees around the blaze. But it wasn't just the felling that made Barry famous. For every tree he took, Barry planted a sapling in return. His motto was well known: what you take, you give back. The forest wasn't just a job to him. It was a living thing, a vast, breathing presence that had looked after him and his ancestors, and he believed it deserved respect. One year, a terrible drought hit Tallow Grove. The river ran low, the earth cracked, and even the mightiest trees seemed to sigh with thirst. Fires spread quickly, and soon a great blaze raged through the forest, roaring toward the town. People panicked, knowing they wouldn't have enough water or manpower to stop it. That night, Barry stood alone at the edge of the burning woods. The orange flames danced across his weathered face, casting shadows over the scars of a lifetime of hard work. Old Red glinted in his hand, and he took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the scent of the smoky air. He knew what he had to do. Swing by swing, Barry carved a protective path around the town, creating a fire break by felling a ring of trees that would help keep the flames from advancing. He worked through the night, and by dawn he had circled the entire town, his clothes singed, his hands raw, but his spirit unbroken. When the townspeople emerged at dawn, they saw a miraculous sight. The forest around them was blackened, charred in the aftermath of the fire, but Tallow Grove stood untouched. Barry was exhausted, sitting on the stump of a great gum tree he had felled, his trusty plum axe resting at his side. The townsfolk lifted him onto their shoulders, cheering for the man who had saved their homes. Barry continued to work in the forest until he was old and gray, planting saplings where he could and swinging Old Red only when needed. To this day, deep in the heart of the forest near Tallow Grove, they say you can still find some of those trees he saved, a small patch of green in a sea of black. And if you listen close on a quiet night, with the wind rustling through the leaves, you might just hear the steady rhythm of a plum axe and the spirit of a man who loved the forest with every swing.